In Uganda, I think Bobi Wine, he has concentrated on building himself more than building an institution that will have a lasting impact.
I think that's a lie, and you know you're lying.
Where was Bobi Wine maybe 7-10 years ago? What experience does he have to run the country and to run a political party?
See, that's why we have a problem. Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda have a problem with you. Look, if Bobi Wine became president of Uganda, he doesn't do it single-handedly.
But from his background, he doesn't have capacity to construct a political party in the real sense of a political party.
I don't understand there what you mean by he doesn't have the capabilities to do. I mean, he's president of the largest opposition political party.
He's very popular, he was eloquent, and he easily won following. But is he able to process that following into managerial capabilities? That I think I doubt.
I'm not as courageous as you define me. I'm a human being. I get scared. I get worried.
Yeah.
Like anybody else. Maybe the word should be desperate. Because that's the truth. I'm just desperate.
That's it.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live Political Commentary. Please consider subscribing to help grow Uganda's Voices of Struggle ecosystem. Thank you.
I cannot appreciate you enough for using your valuable time to always go on social media, break down things for people.
And yes, indeed, broadcasting to you from these United States of the Americas. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching me and at whatever time you might enjoy this conversation. I am Mordecai Marissa, and you're welcome to Mordecai Marissa Live. Exactly. Are you ready? Happy Monday, I should say. I hope you're having a wonderful time, and if you are, let's keep it that way. If not, everything will be all right. Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to be talking about a conversation Kanuri Mugume held with former Chida Municipality Member of Parliament Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda, who criticized the leadership capabilities of Bobi Wine, accused him of some sort of building a party around himself and stuff like that. I completely disagree with him, and that's what I'm going to be doing here. Let's go on and I'll show you what he said, and then we're going to break this down together. Watch here. This is Kanuri Mugume asking Ssemujju.
So, you don't seem to rate Bobi Wine highly, at least from the statements I've seen you make. What would you consider his biggest strengths as a leader?
That's a good question. You don't seem to rank him highly. Okay, let's listen to the People's Front for Freedom. Is he a Secretary General or spokesperson? I don't know.
I have known Bobi Wine as a musician. He one time invited me and I visited his Kamocha base, took me around. At that time we were involved in a walk-to-work protest. And he told me I had composed a song, Baleke Batambule.
Okay, guys, let me ask you a question. How old is Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda? Let's pause here. Bobi doesn't have a song called Baleke Batambule. Ssemujju Nganda age. Oh my God, age. Let's see here. How old is Ssemujju? Ssemujju is 52 years old. Why would he, like he doesn't know? Bobi doesn't have a song called Baleke Batambule. The song is Situka Tutambule, but he had composed a song called Baleke Batambule. Okay.
In a walk-to-work protest. And he told me I had composed a song, Baleke Batambule, and he was asking me if that song will be of help. I think from my knowledge, either he was a supporter of Dr. Messi or he supported FDC, I don't know. Because when I contested for Parliament in 2011, he used to facilitate my team that we are moving in Magera. That time I was MP for Chadondo East. So he's made his contribution. And his rise to even become the main opposition presidential candidate, I think must also have surprised him. it's not something that I think he prepared himself. One time we get arrested during the age limit remove. We are put in the same van. I was with him, Alan Sewanyana, Odongo Oto, Sechikubo, Gerard Karahanga, Oguzuli, driven to Nagarama. One group was left in Chira. On our way to Nagarama, we stopped near that residence of former Vice President Specius Awandera Kazu. They had locked the vehicle, he couldn't breathe. And he said during his campaign that brought him in Parliament, he had said, Bikwase Kyagulanyi. And he said, I didn't know these things are going to be like this. Tough. So he's made his contribution. But from his background, he doesn't have capacity to construct a political party in the real sense of a political party.
I don't understand there what you mean by he doesn't have the capabilities to do. I mean, he's president of the largest opposition political parties. Can you try to break this down? And how is he able to have all this immense influence if he doesn't have the capabilities? And I want to assume that you actually assume that you have those capabilities. We just concluded the 2026 elections. If I may argue or ask you, how many members of parliament from the political party you belong to did you send to parliament? Now, I'm not using that to measure the strength, but I'm trying to get to the level of Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda because he's pretty much ignoring the circumstances under which Bobi Wine is operating. Okay? So I'm not measuring the strength and the leadership prowess of Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda by the number of members of parliament that are sent to the August House. Absolutely not, because I understand even if FDC or PFF had wanted to send many members of parliament, the NRM criminal regime would find ways. Sorry for that noise. I think I should find ways of stopping this audio. I will later. So what I was saying is the NRM criminal regime would find ways of frustrating you and making sure you don't send numbers because NRM wants the numerical strength in the August House. So, but going by the standards of how he wants to judge Bobi Wine, where he wants to judge Bobi Wine from, Bobi Wine sort of sounds or looks like he's performing. Okay, let's go here.
And usually the supporters in Uganda even make things worse. I saw that in FDC.
Mm-hmm.
The people thought Westgate should be bigger than FDC. As long as Westgate is there, it doesn't matter whether you've institutionalized and built a stronger party. And one time I had a fight with them because I kept saying and giving examples when I was heading Montu's campaign. I consume services of MTN, Airtel, and others. I don't know who the CEOs are. They have concentrated on building brands than on building themselves. In Uganda, I think Bobi Wine, he has concentrated on building himself more than building an institution that will have a lasting impact.
I think that's a lie, and you know you're lying because here is intellectual dishonesty and utter hypocrisy. You belong to the People's Front for Freedom. Guess what? Who did you choose as a de facto leader, or who is the leader of this People's Front for Freedom? Is Dr. Kizza Besigye. And here's the hypocrisy. You campaigned for Gregory Mugisha Muntu Oyera. I want to believe that you were inspired by his convictions and his ideologies or strategies. Guess what? When time came for you to choose a side, you didn't go to Alliance for National Transformation. You abandoned him, and up to now, you're behind Dr. Kizza Besigye. I immensely appreciate and respect that gentleman. But this is hypocrisy. And hey, you're talking about building a party around yourself. I want you to look at this. This is PFF, okay? Watch here. Look, that is being done by the People's Front for Freedom. I don't have any problem with that. Look, I totally believe that institutions like a political party are usually built around, or they revolve initially around charismatic founders before evolving to broader institutions. I do believe that. I don't have any problem with that. But I see you having some sort of a problem with Bobi Wine being what Besigye is. And we have to go back and try to understand, where is this problem coming from? We're up against a system and establishment that has entrenched for 40 years. That's what Museveni has built, and we're trying to get out. But you're judging Bobi Wine for being that or building this party around himself. He's only been president for this political party for how many years? 5 or 6 years? What do you mean, sir? There's a hypocrisy right there. Let's go on and listen to more of his comments.
And that's why his absence can easily be felt. That's a war I fought in FDC, and I told the people, yes, Besigye is a human being. There will be a day when Besigye is not there. We should concentrate our efforts on building an institution and not on building and glorifying individuals. But also you must understand, I mean, the truth should be said. Where was Bobi Wine maybe 7-10 years ago? What experience does he have to run the country and to run a political party?
See, that's why we have a problem. Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda have a problem with you. Look, if Bobi Wine became president of Uganda, he doesn't do it single-handedly. I may give an example of the president of the US. He had never been president anywhere, or not even a senator or a mayor or a city in a city council. Absolutely not. He was a reality TV star. Became president in 2016, defeating an established veteran politician in the name of Hillary Rodham Clinton. Clinton had been in the White House before, alongside her husband, Bill Clinton. But Donald Trump comes on the scene and people be like, okay, we go for that person. He didn't have any experience. And guess what? When he became president, do you know the people he employed? The likes of Mike Pence as his vice president, the likes of John Bolton. He went and surrounded himself with these men who are deeply with conservative ideologies and the way the American government should work. So Bobi Wine, if he became president, he's not going to lead by himself. He's going to surround himself with people who can help him lead the country. That's why we have something called a cabinet. Because we believe no man is an island. No man is know-it-all. Absolutely. We've not seen any man like that. Okay? So, that point doesn't really work. And I've given you an example of Donald John Trump. Maybe I should take you to a man who has stood against Russia's attack for how many years now? Do you realize that the Russia-Ukrainian war has lasted for more than the First World War lasted? But guess who is the president? Vladimir Zelensky. And Zelensky is a comedian. In your analysis, intellectual analysis, you would argue, oh, you cannot have a comedian leading you at the forefront. That country would be defeated. Guess what? Zelensky has been able to stand the attack from Russia for how many years? And they're still going. That tells you that Bobi Wine won't be doing it by himself. He would surround himself with people who are smarter in some areas. And probably he would argue or guide in one way or another. And before I get back here, let me tell you, when Bobi Wine was in his music and doing stuff, there were established politicians like you who were, arguing and, leading. And when he became president of the National Unity Platform, he appointed or elected one of you guys to lead. And guess what? He was a self-serving opportunist who was caught awarding himself service awards. Matthias Simpuga, wejitibwa. I guess you'd argue in your analysis, you know what? We need people like Matthias Simpuga. Guess what? He was a careerist, ladder climber, if you may. So, I understand where you're coming from, but you're really missing out a few points, and this is deliberate. But I digress, okay.
He's very popular, he was eloquent, and he easily won following. But is he able to process that following into managerial capabilities? That I think I doubt. And
you doubt because you are opposed to the candidacy of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Robert.
I want to be truthful. I like him, we've met before. We may disagree in the politics.
I don't understand. Where do you disagree in the politics? I don't see I don't understand the disagreement. Like ideologically, I haven't seen Ssemujju try to argue a position that is diametrically opposed to to that of Bobi Wine. I think this is you may argue this is battle of egos. Oh, you cannot lead me. Oh, I'm more experienced than you. That's all the disagreement is. I don't believe it is ideological. Because if you are ideologically deeply rooted, you'd argue or follow the man you campaigned for in FDC in the name of Gregory Mugisha Muntu Oyera.
But I don't think he has capacity to process his popularity into, as I said, the managerial capability to run a party, but also to run a country.
That again, I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, irony is dead. You know what? Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda is not in this parliament, the 11th parliament, is it 11th or 12th? He's not in parliament as a result of Bobi Wine's influence, as a result of Bobi Wine's political party defeating him. Irony is dead. Do you hear yourself, Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda? Now, this is not an attack on this man. I have so much respect for him. But do you listen to yourself? You lost your seat, your parliamentary seat, as a result of the mobilization, the organizing, and the leadership of Bobi Wine. He endorsed Georgia Musisi. Georgia Musisi defeated you. Then how do you say, oh, he doesn't have the capability to lead a political party, but that political party defeated me? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Write down. Tell me, does it make any sense to you? Absolutely not. And then he made a comment here. Let's go back and listen here. I want to give a comment on something he said.
He's very popular. He was eloquent, and he easily won following.
He was popular and he was eloquent and he won a following. And let me tell you, it's not about popularity. I can tell you, there are so many folks who are watching me right now who rank Jose Chameleone, Joseph Mayanja, as one of the greatest musicians Uganda has ever produced. But the same people would say, I don't want that guy to be my leader. He ran for mayor of Kampala. You may argue, some people actually argue, that Chameleone is more popular than Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert. But guess what? When it came to leadership, people, supporters of Chameleone said, no, I'm sorry. So it's not about the popularity. It's not because Bobi Wine is popular. No. I'll tell you. I was having a conversation with him, and this is what he told me. This was in 2024, I think, in Chicago. Listen.
Been told, you're nothing, you don't have anything.
Mordecai, you define me as courageous and as brave, but I think that's an overstatement.
That's called a profile in humility.
I'm not as courageous as you define me. I'm a human being. I get scared. I get worried.
Yeah.
Like anybody else. Maybe the word should be desperate. Because that's the truth. I'm just desperate.
That's it. That's what he's got. You can argue that he's more courageous or more desperate man. And Ugandans notice that. That's why they rallied behind him. It's not about popularity. No. It is not about, oh, does he have the administrative capabilities? No. Sometimes people are going to notice your desperation. Right now as we speak, this man is in exile. Guess what he left behind? He would be in comfort. And Ugandans look at that and be like, okay, I think this is the person we want to lead. People rallied behind Dr. Kizza Besigye. Not because he was anything special, but they looked at him as a very desperate man who was willing to sacrifice his career, who was willing to sacrifice his wealth to take on the Museveni criminal regime. So it's not about the, oh, so look at my eloquence. Oh, I'm smart. No. There's a subconscious within all of us that tells us, oh, you know what? That's the guy. And then I want to tell you one thing. There's an element called X factor. Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda. You know, there's so many people who can do a lot of things. But there's something that clicks within us, that we give more attention to somebody more than we do on others. I don't know what that is. Many leaders can organize meetings. Many leaders can write or arrange policy documents and statements. Many leaders can actually speak eloquently. The likes of Matthias Simpuga, the likes of what's his name? Insedeko Muhammad. They're eloquent. But very few people can actually make people believe. That's an X factor. There's so many people that can do all those things you think. Bobi Wine should be an A candidate, A+ candidate. But there's so many people who have all it takes, whatever. The organization, skills, they're eloquent, they're good at writing policy statements, they can explain. But there's an X factor that some people have that we do not have. That's why people wondered when they looked at the rise of Donald John Trump. Let me tell you a story here. When Democrats looked at the candidates that were running for the Republican endorsement or political card in 2016, many strategists within the Democratic Party said, you know what? Let's try to find ways of how we have Donald John Trump be endorsed to run on the Republican ticket. Because you know what? They thought they would defeat Donald John Trump. They looked at him as unserious. He doesn't have the background. Come on. What has he been doing for the last 20 or so years? He was in the movie Home Alone. He was on TV organizing beauty pageants. He said, we can defeat him. He didn't have the language, the eloquency of that polished language of politicians. He didn't have it. So many, they looked at him and said, how I wish they endorsed Donald John Trump to run against Hillary Rodham Clinton. Oh, they did. Guess what? The rest is history. Donald John Trump defeated Hillary Clinton. And then he came back, defeated a career politician who had been vice president, has all this stuff. She had everything. And Donald John Trump defeats Kamala Harris. That's called X factor. Bobi Wine might not be the greatest political asset. He may not be the managerial expertise. He may not be an expert in fundraising and organizing strategies. But he might have that thing you don't have. And what is this? It is the ability to make ordinary people believe that they matter. It is the ability to convince the ordinary people that change is possible. That is an X factor. See, with your eloquency, Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda, I can guarantee you, try to hold a rally in Kapiat Bong. Try. You can actually carry Jose Chameleone with you. You can carry Shiba Kalungi, Kenzo, and a few other popular musicians in Uganda. Take them with you and talk to the people. And let's organize an election between you and Bobi Wine. All of the musicians of Uganda combined against one Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine wins, all of them. That's called X factor. I don't know what it takes. It is the thing that makes us choose one over the other. Yet all of them might actually look similar. That's called X factor. We don't decide. That gentleman, I should be here. That gentleman, Dr. Kizza Besigye, wasn't the best. He was a doctor. In the Bush War, he was a doctor. That's what he was known for. Abandoned his career in Kenya, joined the Museveni. But guess what? Of all folks that fought alongside Museveni, he's the one that has that has really made Museveni have astronomical headaches. He's a colonel. He's not a general. He's not a field marshal. Actually, folks who are highly ranked in the military would actually say, what do you think? You think Besigye can be president? He's just a colonel. If he was a lieutenant, I would understand. Or maybe a general. No, he's got the X factor. He's got the X factor. And you mentioned on Robert Kyagulanyi. There's no problem with that. You know why? Because he never complained when people were saying, Dokitari, Jango Tuyambe, Obushija. You remember? You never said, no, why are you making it about Besigye? No, you never complained. Dokitari, na, na, na. I love that song. I still do. I think one of the greatest campaigning songs ever. But you never complain about that. But when you hear Bikwase Kyagulanyi, he's building the party around himself, while you continue to organize a special seat for Besigye on PFFU's press conferences, that is called utter hypocrisy. Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda. Shut. Shh. Now, why is he doing this? Finally, this is what I think. I think now that we are done with the 2026 elections, they're trying to throw out these mild attacks to see how the public reacts and to see whether they can push him away and build a new candidate that would go against the establishment. Many of them are going to be career politicians. But are they really wanting change? Or they want more of the same? To quote John Patrick Amama Mbabazi. Let me know what you think. My name is Mordecai Morisa. Bye-bye for now.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.